Welcome to the C-Bin podcast, a show where artists and musicians with an axe to grind throw things deep into the abyss of the C-Bin. Transphobia, racism, ableism, anti-Semitism, sexism, and homophobia, it all gets dumped on the trash! How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the Cold Bin Coldcast. It's me, everyone's big, voluptuous, frozen daddy, big coldie. I've got 2 pairs of socks on. I got some pajama bottoms. My heating's on. No, it's not. I can't afford it. But it's been a while. It's been like a month since the last episode, and you know, I'm not going to say that it wasn't depression related, but I'm not going to not say that. But that's unimportant because it's Christmas time. It's, you know, December's here. Well, tomorrow technically, but by the time you're listening to this, December's here, and that means that the world's greatest holiday is on the horizon, and that is Snatchmas.
Yes, thank you. I was in before, so I'm sorry. You were doing a thing, and I interrupted you. I should have just let it be.
Yeah, no, I can't expect a diva of such high magnitude to just sit waiting for me to introduce.
Exactly. I'll let you. Sorry, I'll just shut up. I'll let you do your own. I'll let you do your show that you've done for years, and I'm just some bitch in a wig because I am in full drag right now.
Oh yeah,
wink, wink, aren't I? You can see me on Skype or whatever it is. I've got a wig on. I've got full face of makeup. I'm corseted.
Yeah, so everything is. I'm just staring at the screen, slack jawed, just like.
As you should.
Well. No, without further ado, it's Carie Coture from Snatch Game, the world's best and only RuPaul's drag punk rock covers band, best thing ever, is sitting in front of me. How's it going?
Yeah, not bad. How are you?
Yeah, apart from being frozen and just full of, you know, existential dread, you know.
I mean, same. Aren't we all?
You know, this is the default now.
It's freezing fucking cold, isn't it? Like, I know this is so English to just talk about the weather, but it literally, I can see it in my fucking Windows 7 toolbar. It's like 0 degrees outside, and I'm like, that can get fucked. That can go in the bin before anything else, frankly.
Yeah, mate, I woke up this morning and I heard the pitter patter of rain on my window. So, you know, I got dressed for the rain, opened the door, fucking snowing.
Oh my god.
What
Wait, down south
shit?
As well? It's not even snowed here, I don't think. Oh my god.
I opened the door and it was like looking into a fucking Christmas card. I was like, hello mate, fucking hell.
It's too much.
Yeah, no.
It's too much. And I have just to be like, my health problems, I have Raynaud's, which is like, you have like bad circulation to your hands and feet.
Yeah,
so I
my
just
got that.
Yeah, it's so annoying. Like, I get cold, but my hands and feet are like a corpse's. It's like, it's the worst.
Do you ever use it to fill someone with dread? Do you ever like walk up to them and touch the back of their neck and let them feel true death?
Yeah, I literally did it. I literally did it to him about half an hour ago. He's like complaining about being cold, and I'll just touch him like on the back or something with my cold hand. He'll be like, "Huh," and I'm like, "Yeah, try having this condition, bitch."
Yeah. What's the silliest noise you think you've gotten out of him by doing that?
Probably just like a oh. He's not, yeah. He keeps it real. He's not doing octaves or anything.
He's like, ooh.
Yeah, no, he's not Davina de Campo. He's not doing fucking, operettas off the top of his.
Have you ever seen that? I think it's like an old Vine, and it's like of an old man, and he's sitting on a like a lawn chair in the garden, and someone comes up to him and pours water from a watering can on his back, and he goes, "Ho!"
I don't know if I've seen that one. That sounds...
It's a classic.
I've probably seen it in a compilation somewhere at some point.
Yeah, they make his head really big. So he goes, "Ho!" and his head goes really big.
Oh my god, I love that. I have to admit, for me, the absolute creme de la creme of Vines is that opera singer woman trying to get on the bus, and she's just knocking on the door.
Oh, yeah.
it's so like, what am I watching in the best way?
There's two amazing bus themed vines. The other one is like, bye bye diver, and she's like, bee. Have you seen that one?
Oh my god, no, I don't know that one.
Yeah, like the driver's like, bye, and she's like, bee, and they just trade off byes for ages. Class.
Oh my god, I love that. Just before I forget, it is Christmas time, so I should say Merry Chrysler.
Yeah, Merry Shitsgram. That's not in the Vine, but that's a different one. Merry Chrysler.
This is the Vine podcast now. We don't need to talk about Snatch Game. Let's just talk about how
we're
old.
Vinecast.
Yeah. Love that.
Maybe we should do a Snatchmas t-shirt with a Merry Chrysler on it.
Yeah, and like only people over like 32 will understand it, and all the Gen Z will be like, I don't understand what's that.
It's Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Oh god, there's so many. I could talk about this all, but yeah, I could go on this tangent for hours.
Yeah, so Snatchmas is on the 16th, so, by the time this comes out, people have a chance to get their tickets and come and see some silliness.
Exactly. So yeah, just quickly, I've got to do my promo for context. So Snatchmas is our yearly Christmas show in Manchester where we have a whole bunch of bands, 7 I believe this year, and afterwards we have a DJ after party playing gay pop bangers, and we also have a bunch of Queen's lip syncing this year, so it's going to be a absolutely stellar Christmas party for the ages, and the profits go towards Mermaids, which is a charity for trans youth, so it's for a good cause. And Nigella Lawson's going to be there this year, so
fuck off.
Nigella Lawson. It was £45 off Amazon. Is going to be there this year. We had Jane McDonald, wink, wink, there last year. Right. We always have a mascot, you see, and they definitely attend and are not made from cardboard. So don't worry about it.
I totally believed you then, rightfully so, because it's true.
The way you were like, fuck off, really? Nigella Lawson is coming to this scummy venue in the middle of Manchester for a punk show. It's like, she supports the dolls.
It's like, you ever seen Paddy Constantine walk around MPF and you're just like, hold on, you're matey from that film. I just thought it'd be like that, like you'd be at the show and all of a sudden Nigella's there licking her fingers or something.
Yeah, she's just getting involved. No, she's on our poster. She's like she's our unofficial mascot for this year. So yes, that's in Manchester, and you can get tickets on our website, or you can turn up on the day, but it will be more expenny on the day because we are capitalist. No, we're raising money for charity. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Even if you buy it in advance and you get the cheap ticket, when you show up, just give you £10.
Exactly. Or just tip us. Like, I mean, you can give money to the charity, but also, like, that someone tipped us at Nicest Pie the other week. Someone just sent us £10 on PayPal, and we're like, you guys were great, here's £10. And I was like, oh my god, you don't even want a t-shirt. Amazing. This is great.
What did you buy with that tenner?
It's just, a bunch of Sambuca shots that I fell over with, and basically I was trying to cross a busy dance floor in like 3-inch platform boots and holding a bunch of Sambuca, and I went over the stage, which was empty at the time, thinking that was a smart idea. Tried to step down off the stage in platform boots with all of these shots and just went straight on my arse. Don't know how I didn't get more injured, to be honest, but so I'm still here somehow, so whatevs.
Yeah, thank God you didn't have one of those like death becomes falling down the stairs, head twists around backwards moments. That would have been bad.
I literally just watched that film like 2 weeks ago, but yes, I mean, I am the Meryl Streep if we're going to go there.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, who wouldn't? Madeline Ashton, icon.
Right, so we come here to do two things: throw some things in a bin and look fabulous. You're already looking fabulous, so let's throw some shit in the fucking bin. What's the first binnage you have for me?
Okay, let me look at. I'm definitely not looking at my Google Doc I presented earlier. Okay, so my first thing to throw in the bin is students. Now that's a broad topic, but let me narrow it down for you. So
Please do.
I am from Manchester. I've always lived in and around Manchester, and we have, some couple of really big unis here. And every year a new crop of students come to learn in our institutes, and that's great. But they do not get out the fucking way on any pavement anywhere, and it frustrates me to no end. As someone who has constantly lived in a big, busy city, it is programmed into me to constantly be moving out the way. And there's a street in Manchester, I don't know if you know it, called Oxford Road, which is kind of where all the unis are and all the university students hang out. And I work and live near there now. And the amount of times that I am just trying to walk to fucking Greg's to get some lunch or whatever, and just gaggles of students full of youth and hope just stand in the middle of the pavement chatting shit to each other, and just I'm getting ruder and ruder by the year. I'm like, move please. Like, it's so inconsiderate, like it annoys me. And it's like, I get it, you're from a small town probably where no one fucking lives there, and it's like super quiet. It's like, you're in a city now, you need to be stressed out like everyone else and move out the way. It riles me up. I don't know.
Gritty shit. I can see it. I can see it in your eyes. Right now, the steam is coming out your ears and
honestly,
out your nose.
Like, I literally, like, earlier this year, came back from Japan, and they've got some of the busiest cities in the fucking world. Like, it's insane. Yeah. And the organisation of the pedestrians is absolutely top-notch. Like, they don't miss a beat. Everyone is walking in a billion different directions. There's thousands of people going down the street, and they all are, like, in sync perfectly. People are not stood around in groups just taking up the entire pavement, talking to each other. And I want to be happy for them, because I'm like, they're here in this, like, metropolis, and they've got all this culture to soak up. And I will be happy for them when they just move out the way a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, like, what are they talking about? What have they got to talk about? Like, when like toddlers try and tell you secrets, and it's like, what have you got that's going to surprise me? So what have students got to talk about? Like, discussing their favourite vape flavours or something. Like, fuck off, mate.
Exactly. And like, to be honest, like even when I was a student many years ago, well, not many, I'm 19 if you didn't know, but I was a student many years ago, and even, like, I think I know it was one of the first things I noticed. Me and the few other, like, sort of Manx were all very aware of, like, just sort of, like, staying out the way, kind of, like, going with the flow of where people walk and stuff. And everyone else was just like, oh, yeah, like, dead laissez-faire. And we were like, oh, my God, you need to, like, move out you need to, like, come on. We got to be, like, I don't know. It's like the most pedantic thing ever, but it just annoys me to no end because it's rude. It's rude.
You know what they're doing? They're clogging the arteries of the city. They're blocking the veins of the city. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's so poetic. You should put that in a song.
Yeah, I will. I won't. But it's very, like, this is kind of like a combination of two previous bins by two other amazing. So. I don't remember who was it. Was it Leslie from Midwich Cuckoos spoke about people being in the way when you're trying to get somewhere, people in the way, and Shannon from Monolithian and Bobby Funk, my housemate, she's in the kitchen right now making a curry probably. She was talking about how students, they get in the way at supermarkets, like when you're in the supermarket and they all just cluster together around like a certain area, and you're just like, oh my God, can I get to the beans, please?
You literally just brought back more memories. Like, I literally went to the Sainsbury's with my friend a couple of weeks ago in a studenty kind of area just by chance. And it was around freshers, that's what it was. So they're all turning up with their parents who are like teaching them how to wipe their arse or whatever, because they're like, like privileged or whatever. And they were just stood around in gaggles, just like, you couldn't go anywhere. Like, it was like, and in the co-op the other day, it was the same thing. Just stood in the entrance of where the automatic doors open, just stood right there. Like, not letting anyone in or out. And I was like, hello? What? It amazes me that people are so ignorant sometimes. Like, the spatial awareness, where is it?
Mate, by the time they finish uni, you know that kind of behaviour will be corrected. Sorry if you can hear that fucking motorcycle outside my room, you bellend.
No, it's alright.
Mate, it sounded like, I don't know what it sounded like. Well, sort of, like an anus.
It was just gas, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was just my it was just my bungus. They've yet to be damaged by they haven't been fucked by the long dick of life yet. Once they're out of uni, they're going to be like, they're going to
be jaded like the rest of us. Yeah.
Now they're so full of hope. They're like, once I get this art degree, my career's going to skyrocket. It's like,
oh my God,
you're fucked. You shagged it from day one, mate. You should have just gone straight into fucking Tesco.
Honestly, mate, I did a film degree, so yeah, the reality of like, oh lol, this will get you nothing in real life. It was very real.
Well, it's going to it pays off with your cinematic stage show.
Sure, let's go with that. Yeah. It's all right, isn't it? It was fine. I just did some. I can do music videos. Not done any for Snatch game yet. Probably should. That'd be a good idea, wouldn't it?
Yeah, crack on with it. But I don't know if you've ever been to Falmouth before, where I live in Cornwall.
No.
But it's an art university town. Big uni. There's a marine biology university, because obviously we're in this big, large natural harbour with the coral reef in it, and also it's a big art university. So it's just full of these kind of. It's great because we have this cultural melting pot of people that would come down. Like there's lots of like anti-fascism and stuff in the town, which is like quite different from the rest of Cornwall. Like really good free-thinking people, and the gigs are awesome. But we get these kind of like drifty will-o-wisp bohemian students come in on Freshers Week, and they think that they're. I manage a charity shop, so you always see them come into the shop on their first week of Freshers, and they're all walking around making jokes and laughing, and in these huge groups, and I'm just like, you fuckers, like just wait.
Honestly, like, it's so, like, and I used to, I don't want to, like, my inner, I was going to say prejudices, that's not the right word, maybe, but the ones that particularly get on my nerves is, you just know the ones who have got, like, rich Tory parents who sound like they're from...
The Trustafarians.
Yeah, yes, literally. And it's like, how have you got all of this money, and you've got all these I had them when I was at uni, do you know what I mean? Like, this was like... Oh yeah, I'm going skiing in the Alps this winter for like 2 months, and I was like, how can they afford that? And then, I'm here from a regular like working class background, and it's just like, it does my head in. So if they're in the way and they're like, yeah, oh my God, like we're going to do this, ha ha ha. I'm like, have you been to that party? That's when I'm like, I'm going to literally kill this person if they don't move out of my way. But if they were like a Scouser, I wouldn't be as bothered. I'd be like, she's all right.
I remember someone walking around the shop, a student walking around the shop, a few months ago when it was Freshers Week, and hearing like, right, okay, so Darcy, when you come to my house later, like, don't take too many drugs because we're gonna have some Mandy there ready, but have some pre-drink drinks, but we're also gonna be pre-drinking in mine, and then really hitting the sesh, and it's just like, you absolute fucking doink.
It's too much. Honestly, you get it here where they come people move here, like a lot of people move to Manchester for work, it's cheaper than London, whatever, but they come here and they're all posh and whatever, but then there's this thing now where posh people want to pretend that they're working class for like street cred, and you hear them using like Manc slang but in this posh accent. They're like, oh mate, that was like so peng, I'm totally fucking, I can't even think of any, that was anging, like it just sounds weird, like it sounds so strange, and I'm like, it's too much.
So I guess the thought is, right, students, Clearly, they bring our various pisses to boiling point. Do we cut them some slack because they are fresh faced and yet to be delivered the gut punch, or is that inexcusable?
No, I think it is fair to cut them some slack because we were all, well, I was going to say young once. I mean, I'm still young, but like...
Yeah, you're fresh.
Thank you, yeah. We're all young. We're what, like 30, 32, something like 31? We're not that old.
That's my age.
Yeah, I was like, I'm sure you're like a year or two older than me. Yeah, we're not old, but like, we are old enough to
party.
have some wisdom and to party, of course.
Yeah.
But even though I have these instinctual reactions that I want to kill these young people, I do remember. Literally, yeah. But I was like, I was super annoying at that age as well. Not in this way. I knew to stay out the fucking way in cities and stuff. But I was very annoying in many other ways. So I do try to cut them some slack. But to be honest, I think like subconsciously, it also makes me feel old, like when I'm around them, because I remember when I was about 27, walking through like the university campus one day, just like out of the blue, because I just fancied a walk, and I was like, who are all these children? And that's when I realised I was like old enough that university students looked 12 years old to me now, and I was like, so I think maybe I just don't like them for that reason as well.
Yeah, no, I've had a few moments like that because I'll be playing shows in the hometown, students are coming to the show, and I have been getting like, "Rah, are you the guy from the charity shop?" And I'm like, I used to get recognised for cool shit. And the other day I played a show, and the sound guy of the show was 5 years old when I formed the band I was playing in.
God.
Which I was like, oh God, I felt my back crumble into dust instantly.
Oh no. How old was he? Like 18 or something?
Yeah, he was like, doing sound engineering in the university or whatever. And I'm there just like, oh man, you were like still shitting in your own hands when I was rocking out.
I refuse to believe that anyone was born after the year 2000. I just don't understand that. No, it doesn't. I remember speaking to someone once at a smoking area in Rebellion, and I realised, I was like, you're quite young, aren't you? I was like, how old are you? And they said 18. And I was like, wait, so when were you born? And they said 2004. And I was like, oh. And I said to them, I was like, you don't remember like dial-up internet or anything like that, do you? And they said to me, is that like slow Wi-Fi? That's what they said to me. And I was like, bitch, it was a wire and it made noises. I don't know what to tell you. And, yeah.
I heard someone in my shop talking, going through the CDs, and it was like, best of 90s, and they're like, 90s, that's like olden times. I was like, but on that note, you know what? Just to cure my own insecurities of being an old codger, I'm throwing students in the bin. So listen for the splash, in it goes.
Thank you.
Students, especially those that won't get out the fucking way, get out the way, you cunts, in the C bin, splishty splash, in we go. Bin the second, what you got? Let's fire it out.
Okay,
Bing, bang,
let's have a look. Okay, number 2, now stay with me on this.
I will, I'm staying.
Wagamamas.
Okay, so what's the tea? Hit me.
I think what it is it's not what Wagamamas is, it's what Wagamamas represents. It's like, so as someone, I am a bit of a weeb. I am really
interested in Japan.
Yeah, I've got friends who live there. I'm learning it on Duolingo. Like, wow. I've been there. I love the culture. I find it so interesting. I love the food. I love like so much about it. And I'm seeing a lot of like more sort of like Japanese or Japanese adjacent like restaurants popping up, at least in Manchester and like London and stuff. And that's great because it's like, more access to things I like, basically. But I feel like Wagamamas is like, it's so like, they kind of brand themselves as a Japanese restaurant, but when you read the menu, they've basically just pushed every Asian cuisine together into one and acted like it's Japanese food. I was literally looking at the menu and it's like pad thai. I was like, well, that's from Thailand. And then something else would be like chow mein. I was like, well, that's from China. I'm like, what are we doing here, wagamamas? Are we like, if you're just combining everything into one, that's fine, but don't brand yourself as this Japanese restaurant that just like, you've heard of this, haven't you? Sweet and sour chicken. You know what that is. The chippy does it. Like, oh, we've got it at wagamamas. Like, it's just like, what? Like, I can't, like, I feel like it's like, it's I think it's just like, it attracts this sort of person who I think that they think they're really, really cultured, but they're absolutely not. Like, and it's like, it annoys me because it's inauthentic and it just grinds my gears. It's hard to do. Like, you can't have a chicken katsu curry once a year and be like, oh my god, I love Japanese food. Like, it's I mean, whatever, do what you like, enjoy what you enjoy, but just know what it is. And also, like, just before I forget, one time I was at a Wagamamas and I wanted some sake because I like a sake, who doesn't? And I was like, oh, I'll have a sake. I was like, oh, can I get it warmed up, please, with a couple of cups? You know, it's customary that it's usually served warm. And they were like, we can't do that. And I was like, so you're a Japanese restaurant, apparently, serving sake, but I can only have it, like, ice cold, even though literally everywhere else would warm this up. Like, it's just little things where it's like, you don't care really, do you? You're not actually trying to do this properly, and it annoys me.
Yeah, I've always thought that about Wagamamas because I've only been in it a couple of times in my life, and I've always just sat in it and thought, what are you trying to be? Like, what is this? Like, it's just like, who are you pretending to be here? It kind of reminds me of, like, you know, when in like the 90s, if like pot noodle did like they put like some star anise in their sauce and they'd be like, welcome to the pot noodle flavors of the Orient, or something, like something a bit, it's like some kind of Asian.
You've heard of paprika? Is it Asian? We don't know, but it's in the pot noodle.
Mysterious spices from beyond the ocean.
Chili.
Do you like salt? Well, did you know there's more? I've always just been like, what is this? I never even, like, when you said, you know, it's like, it's Japanese food, I was like, is it supposed to be? I always thought it was like some kind of like South Korean thing. I don't know what's going on.
No, like, wagamama is a Japanese word. I can't remember what it means. It means like, it's something like hungry or something. I can't remember what it means, but it means something in Japanese. So it's meant to be. And if you look on their like website and shit, it's like, oh, Japanese food, and then it's like, oh, do you want some fucking beef and black bean sauce or whatever? And it's like, what? This is like a Chinese. It's probably not even really Chinese. It's probably just like an English thing that we pretend is. Like, you know, it's like, I think as well, like, I'm a person who really, really likes spice and like intense heat, and it just annoys because it's the sort of place that what they'll call a spicy curry is like, to me it tastes like water. Like, I'm like, oh, this is like English people spicy curry. Like, it's
well, I think with restaurants like as I guess it's called, like casual dining places, like I guess Nando's kind of have like more of a spicy thing going on, but like it's like when you see like McDonald's have like the ghost pepper dippers, it's like they can't actually make it that hot because there's just no way. Like, they just have to pretend. I think with Wagamamas they have to be like, this is the spicy, but only to a certain level that makes it acceptable for the public, that everyone can try it and not feel like they're being cast out or something.
Literally, but then, like, for comparison, like, there's a Japanese restaurant in Manchester called Maki and Ramen, which is like, I've had confirmed from my Japanese friends, is like as close as you're gonna get without being in Japan to like the food. And I've had their spicy food thinking it was gonna be like Wagamama's level, you know, fuckery. And then the next day I was like shitting myself for an hour. So I was like, okay, that they weren't lying. That one, it is incredibly hot, but like,
hell yeah.
I just want to believe it's true, you know, and I can't at places like Wagamamas. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just feel like Japanese food just doesn't really get it doesn't get done right on this little island we live on.
No.
I've been told that the finest sushi you can get in the UK is like the equivalent of like what you'd get in a train station in Japan.
Oh yeah, no, it's wild. My only gripe with actual Japan is I'm vegetarian and it's really hard to find vegetarian food. You can get it, and if you know where to look, but it's definitely not as easy. But the stuff I did have was like, you know, top notch. Like, never had a bad meal really the whole time. I just want that level of food to be brought over here for everything really, but especially in what's meant to be a Japanese restaurant.
Yeah, I think, do we throw Wagamamas in, or do we throw their identity crisis?
I love how you intellectualize like this. Like, let's really expand on this stuff.
Well, this is the thing. It's like this is my job. I've been doing this for some time now. But it's like I like to pick apart what really is the root of the issue, so we can get really specific with it. Because it's fair. Like, it's not necessarily Wagamamas as a chain. I'm sure a lot of people really enjoy it, but I guess it's just like, from the perspective of someone who really understands what they're marketing themselves as, it's the sort of the fallacy that they are projecting. You know, if they were just like Asian food for the masses, then I think maybe it'd be more acceptable. But because they're like Japanese food, have fucking some Mongolian beef and pad thai.
Yeah, if they were like Asian fusion restaurant, I'd be like, okay, it's like it's doing what it says. If they had sake on the menu but they wouldn't give it to me in the usual way, I'd be annoyed, but I'd be like, well, it's not claiming to be like a bona fide Japanese, like, but yeah, they're misbranding themselves.
Yeah,
they are.
It's like, don't have a lot of money to spend, want to sit down for a dinner and want to get a picture of you holding chopsticks for your Instagram story. Wagamamas. So I think the sea binning thing here is the identity crisis of Wagamamas.
Okay.
Get a grip of yourselves. Look yourself in the mirror and be honest with who you are. Like, it's time to come out. No more hiding. Like this, you know, it's 2023. If you can't be honest with who you are on the inside, then, you know, sort it out.
They basically hate criming an entire nation, and I'm just here to put a stop to it. So
exactly, so let's get it in the bin. Let's listen for a splash.
Goodbye.
Bang, in it goes. Right, before we move on, I got another thing we're going to do. I asked you about earlier on, but I'm going to quickly thank my Patreon supporters. So thank you to Bagsy, Aidan Sean, Adam James, Kate Christiane, Claire, Alex, Spallbags, Tim, CJ Sniff, Jochen CB, Fee and Peg, Rory, E.T., Jimmy, Mike, David, Will, Sarah, Matt, Ollie, Alex, Chris, Dale, Caroline, Dave, Will and Cody. And also thank you to Cigarettes, who are sponsoring this week's episode. Go to www.cigarettes.org. They exist, so smoke them.
I remember, smoking gives you big tits.
It does, and also it makes you cool. So thanks a lot to Cigarettes for sponsoring the show.
Love that.
Yeah, have a cig. Have two at the same time.
You know that one of the only times I smoke is when I'm in drag. Sorry, just a quick sideline there. I'm that stressed out and in pain, I just need to smoke. That's like one of the only times, though.
Why are you in pain? You shouldn't be in pain.
Oh, the corsetry, the bra. I mean, out of drag, I'm a 6'2", wide-shouldered dude. Like, and I've usually got like big fucking shoes on, which start to hurt after a while. I've got wigs that are designed for petite women's heads usually, so they're squeezing my big fucking head. Like, it's being in drag is painful. People don't tell you. And you've got shaving rash everywhere. Like, you look great, but you feel like dying. You
suffer for it. Yeah,
you do. You suffer for the beauty. Like, people don't understand. It's extremely painful. That's
why I'm not cut out for it. You know, I was talking to Ian
Miss Ghislaine MacDonald.
Yes, Ghislaine. About how I wanted to become Juicy Von Thickums, and I wanted to go for it. I'm just not made for it. I'm not cut from that cloth. I'm too insecure. When you put a drag on, you should feel powerful. But when I've put on the clothing and the wig, I feel I don't have that strength yet. So I'm not cut from that. But I have been comparing. I did a drag event where I did the compare, and that was really fun, and I quite liked that. I dressed like a cowboy. So
okay, I think you can. Well, there's more than one way to do drag, and you can. It's not something that the first Snatch Game gig ever. I hated how I looked really because I didn't know what I was doing. The first few gigs, I didn't really love how I looked because I didn't know what I was doing yet. I didn't know who I was, what my drag aesthetic was yet. So there's always room to grow and just confidence. It comes in time, it's one of those things.
And I think being a big gal, being a big voluptuous queen is that is also, it's hard to find things that are the fantasy, because I don't know what the fantasy is yet. So it's hard to experiment when there's so few clothes that fit my voluptuous physique.
Honestly, it's one of those things you just learn over time. You learn where you can get the big clothes online. Like I say, I've got super wide shoulders, which is hard to. So you learn kind of this shape of a neckline is kind of going to look more feminine, and you kind of just figure it. I'm going to wear a long wig so you don't see my big wide man shoulders. You just kind of figure it out over time. Yeah. It's all optical illusions, smoke and mirrors shit.
Yeah, because I'm shaped like a fridge. I'm just straight down.
Right.
And I've got no ass either. I've got zero gat. I've got an ass like a microwave with a line drawn down it. I'm just flat. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but you can. But then you can add padding to that. You just a bit of here, a bit there. Suddenly you'll have an hourglass if you want that. Some people don't even want that. I don't particularly like having hip padding and stuff, but other people in Snatch Game do. I think the beautiful thing about drag, especially in the modern sort of age, is that it's so open to interpretation and there's no one correct way to do it.
Yeah. Speaking of drag, I asked you, seeing as in you are in a drag band, I thought I want to hear your dream supergroup made out of drag queens. Now, let's just say that in this fantasy land, all of these drag queens can rip and rock on their instruments.
Yeah.
So I gave you. Normally I would drop this on you on the spot, but I felt like this one was such a big ass that I did give you some preparation time. Yes. So what have you got for me? Hit me with this band.
I'm really glad you gave me prep time because I would have just been for 20 minutes. So thank you for giving me the prep time. Okay, I've got some tidbits to this. Okay, so on drums. We have the incomparable Miss Alaska Thunderfuck 5000. Now, that might be a weird choice, but I think that Alaska has a very kind of... she has this very calm, grounding presence, which I feel is really important for a drummer. Also, there's an episode of... Oh, God. It's either All Stars or the regular US series of Drag Race, where they had a pretend band playing in the background, and they showed a cutaway, and it was actually Alaska playing the drums dressed as Dee Snider from Twisted Sister. Oh, and shit, I know she's a fan of rock because she's done songs with references to Smashing Pumpkins lyrics and stuff. So this is why I've chosen Alaska for the drums.
Cool, so we've got the drums down.
Yep. So on bass, we have... Have you seen Dracula, by any chance?
Yeah. I watched it with Shannon a few times.
Yeah, so I've got Landon Cider, if you're familiar with Landon Cider. Yeah. So I was like, I want to have a king in there. And Landon is absolutely iconic, drag king. And just seemed like... I don't know. Just seemed... Maybe it's because, out of drag, she's a lesbian. So I just feel like... bass, you just need someone who's going to get the job done, and sometimes you just need a lesbian to get the job done because us gays are absolutely useless, to be honest with you. So
speaking of Dragula, before I forget, can I give you I do an impression of one of the Boulay brothers. I can't remember which one it is.
Do it.
But I do it when I walk into the kitchen while Shannon's cooking. I go, "Hello, uglies."
I can't do that fucking voice, but there's a video on our Instagram of our drummer Juliet Balcony and one of our guitarists Ty Slaggerus, and they're both dressed like the Boulet brothers for a Halloween show we did, and they're both doing the voices, but Juliet Balcony could do the best, like, hello. I can't do that voice. I don't know how anyone does it.
We're here to judge your drag, and remember, drag is art, and art is subjective.
Literally, she was like, is she the one who has a penchant for anarchy? It was so fucking funny. But I love Dragula.
Right, so we got the rhythm section down.
Yes, okay, and then guitar, I've got Maddie Morphosis. Now, are you familiar with Maddie Morphosis?
I'm not familiar with Maddie Morphosis.
Okay, so Maddie Morphosis is the only queen in Drag Race history thus far who identified as a straight man, a cis straight man. And on the talent show, they had a talent show on her season, and her talent was she played guitar, so which is what made me think of this. It was like, so I know she can actually play guitar, which helps. And I just also think she has a podcast series called Give It To Be Straight, where she interviews people, and it is one of the best interview series I've ever seen. That's just like a bit of a sideline, but I highly recommend that. So I've got two people who could actually play the instruments, as it would seem so far. So I think I'm doing quite well. Okay, and then I've added synths because I just feel like, why not?
Yeah,
you know,
fair play. If you got the choice, you might as well. You know,
I have no justification for this one apart from she just seemed like she'd be good at synths. Do you know Utica?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just can imagine her playing a synth and like looking a bit like Cookie.
long spindly fingers.
Yeah, she's
makes
gangly
RuPaul
looking.
screech.
Yeah. She makes jokes about smoking weed or whatever it was, and she absolutely killed Ru. But I can just imagine her like all like spindly and just like pressing like random things on a keyboard and being like, ooh, like being Cookie. Like, I can
just being a little creepy guy.
And then for the vocals, I was thinking about queens that can like actually sing, but what I really want in a drag queen, especially a front person, is someone that I just like want to look at, like just aesthetically. So I went with Tace from Drag Race UK.
Fair play. I thought you were going to say Adore Delano.
I can see why you would say that, and that was one of my backup options for sure.
Yeah, but Tace is a shout because I mean, come on.
She's just one of those people who, like, whenever she performs anything, I just cannot take my eyes off her. I just think she's so... I mean, she's stunning and stunningly beautiful, but she just has charisma and stage presence just leaking out of her. And it's like, I feel like you can learn to sing, but you can't learn that kind of stage presence.
Yeah, you can't teach that shit.
Exactly. So that's why and this drag, she can just lip sync, like, it's fine. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But if I was going for someone who could actually sing, it would be Adore Delano or Davina De Campo. So just saying.
Your drag gives me Adore Delano vibes. That's kind of why I thought that.
No, I can see that for sure. I'm kind of like, I'm constantly trying different aesthetics, but I just really like 90s grungy kind of vibes. Like it speaks to me. Sometimes I throw a bit of kind of like anime adjacent kind of like the hair and stuff. I've like, I don't know if you'd call it anime. To me it is, but it's kind of like I look like I work at Lush. That's the best way I can describe it to you.
Yeah, I can feel that. You're going to walk up to me immediately and ask me if I need any help with anything.
Yeah, I'm on commission, yeah. Be like, oh my God, you'll say that you don't want to help, and then I'll come back a minute later and I'll just compliment you on something random, and then I'll try and sell you something.
Yeah, I like your shoes. Let me rub some avocado on you. Hold up.
Literally that, yeah.
Yeah. I also asked you, we'll try, I don't want to run too long here, but like, I'm
sorry, I talk forever.
No, that's not your fault. That's me fucking doing the world's longest intro all the time. What musicians do you think would make good drag queens? You know, that's what I thought of.
I had such a hard time with this because there's so many that I feel like are already basically drag queens. So I feel like one that goes without saying is Lady Gaga. She's literally is a drag queen.
Yeah.
I mean, like, and then obviously Snatch Game, if we're talking about musicians who'd be great drag queens, just to plug ourselves for a moment. Was a little bit offended that wasn't thought of, but it's okay. And then I've got, I've got 6 apart from those. I've got Charlie XCX, because she's basically a gay man in a woman's body. I've got Gerard Way from My Chem. It will not surprise you that as a gay alternative person from the 90s, I'm obsessed with My Chem. And he has been wearing like lots of drag-ish style
lots of
outfits.
Experimenting with different kinds of clothing.
He's been doing a lot of gender expression stuff lately, which is cute to see. So, and he's kind of got that sass. He's kind of always had that campy kind of Freddie Mercury sass about him. So I feel like he'd be a good drag queen. I've got Helen from Smoking Gives You Big Tits.
Oh, hell yeah.
I just feel like I literally saw her 2 weeks ago at Nice's Pie, and she was dressed as like a pantomime fairy, basically, with like this rainbow coloured tutu, just like crowd surfing and being wild. And I just feel like she has the energy of a drag queen already.
Yeah, she's got that taste thing going on.
Yeah, exactly. You just want to look at her. It's hard to describe. I love Helen. She's such a queen. No, I was going to go off on a tangent, but I'll stay on topic. Okay. My next one, I don't know if it's like, they might be cancelled, so feel free to just delete this. I was going to say Steven Tyler from Aerosmith.
I mean, they're a little bit cancelled due to, the whole sort of, underage diddling and all that stuff, but
you can see why I chose that.
I know what you're trying to say, yeah.
He's definitely got that vibe. This is another obvious one, but Nicki Minaj, she's literally the campest person ever without realising that she's the campest person ever.
I think she knows.
Yeah. Well, they said to her, she was at the Met Gala when the theme was camp, and they were like, why do you think you've been invited here? And she was like, I don't know. And she was like, the interviewer was like, well, do you think it's because you're like, you're very camp as a performer? And she was like, what's that? I don't even know what that is. It was like, oh, it's even camper because she doesn't realise she's so camp. It was so interesting. And then my last one is Roddy Bottom from Faith No More.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, famous queen playing the keyboards. I've never seen someone play keyboards so dramatically in my whole life. I just thought it was amazing, and I can just see him making an absolutely cunty drag queen. So,
I think all of Faith No More would.
To be honest, my original choice was Mike Patton, and then the more I thought about it, I was like, oh, but Roddy though, like I can see it for both of them, to be honest. But yeah, all of Faith No More are basically, I don't know, like I saw them for the first time a few years ago at Download. I'd never seen them before. And I was like, oh my God, this is so camp and like chaotic. They're just trolling everyone. It was so weird and amazing. I loved the energy of it.
Was that Download 09 when they first came back?
No, I
was at that one.
No, it was about 5 years ago or something. They played a little earlier, like in the sort of like late afternoon, and I'd never seen them. I only knew like 2 songs, and like Mike Patton's, like they're all in like yoga clothes, and then like Mike Patton's like running up to the security and like taking off their security headphones and shouting there's a bomb, and then just giving it back to them like nothing happened and carrying on singing. Like it was the most chaotic thing. I was so entertained.
Yeah, well, I saw he was tangling himself in a big red silk curtain and wearing an all white suit with a bouquet of flowers. It was like amazing.
Literally.
Yeah.
So
I think that's a great bunch of choices, and I think we've really like how you and your associates do. We've mixed those worlds together in a perfectly beautiful little cluster of clusterdom. Should we do some more binning? Should we continue to binnage?
Yeah, let's do it.
Hit me with a third.
Okay, so my third thing to put in the bin is Victoria Warehouse. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with this venue. Okay, let me explain to you. Okay, this is a music venue in Manchester that's opened in the last couple of years, and Every fucking gig that I seem to want to go to in Manchester is now at this venue. And it is the shittest music venue I have ever known. I have lived here my whole life. I've been to so many fucking venues of every size. This is the worst one by miles. And everyone I know who's been to a gig there hated it. But everyone keeps fucking playing there because I guess Ticketmaster own it or whatever. So they're gonna, and it's like that funny size where it's like 3,000 people. So it's like not quite enough for like the big arena, but it's too much for like a big theater or something. So it sort of is in that funny in between venue sizes. So people keep going there, and basically what this is it's just a massive warehouse, as the name implies. It was just a warehouse, and it's a massive room with a stage at the end of it, but it's a big long thin room with a stage at the end, and then a crowd of 3,000 people in the way, and there's no screens so that you can see if you're far away or anything like that. If you're anywhere near the middle or the back, you just cannot see a single thing. There's there's no incline to the floor or anything like that. So, a lot of venues, they'll have like the back is a little further up. So if you're further back, you can still sort of see. It's just flat. There's nothing. All it is like you're in. It's like claustrophobic and sweaty. You can't see, and you just sort of like trying to dodge around people's head to catch a glimpse of someone who looks like an ant. I went to see Charlie XCX there with my best friend. And I'm blessed. I'm 6'2", 6'3" sort of height, but he's like average height, like 5'9". He's like average height for like a guy. And he just left and went to the bar, like, which is like sort of in a different room, because the bar had TV screens showing the stage. And he just stood in the bar and just watched it on the TV screens, not even in the same room, because he was like, I can't see anything. What's the point?
Fucking hell.
It's the worst venue ever.
Yeah. I hate venues like that. And the ones where there's just nowhere to hide either. Like, you're there, or you're in the bar, or you're outside. Like, there's nothing else going on.
There's nothing. Not a single mezzanine in sight. Not a balcony. Not any kind of like cubby hole or table anywhere or any. It's just a big room with a stage at the end, and good luck. If you're close enough to be able to see anything that's happening, you will be dying of like heat exhaustion. Like, this is the kind of like space we're talking about, because there are other venues that are a similar kind of like, simple layout, if you like Manchester Academy is kind of like that, but I don't know what it is. It's just not as crowded in there. You can just see better. It's not quite as big of a room, so you can see from anywhere, basically. Like, it's just a way better setup, and it annoys me because people I like, literally tomorrow, Ash Nico, who is a singer I really like, I don't know if she's playing there tomorrow, and I was gonna get tickets, and then when I saw it was there, I was like, I can't go. It's gonna just piss me off. And Kim Petras, I don't know if you know Kim Petras. She's playing there in February, and I didn't want to go to that venue so much that I've booked to go to see her in Berlin instead.
What the fuck?
I was like, you know what? It's the same money for the ticket. I've a couple days in Germany in advance. It'll only be a couple hundred quid tops. I was like, I would rather go to a different country than go to this fucking venue. It's the worst. It's so bad. I saw Placebo there. That was shit as well. It was the worst.
Yeah, I think someone obviously had the space and thought this would be a good venue. I'm not going to look into making it actually decent. I'm just going to put a stage there and call it good.
Honestly, like, even if they just fucking, like, it doesn't work. It needs to be smaller or wider or have screens or just something. Like, it doesn't feel like a concert venue. It feels like a warehouse, because that's what it fucking is. Like,
Yeah.
it's just
Oh god.
for like a rave, it'd be fine. We don't really need to see.
Yeah,
If
we
like
just
a
there to
rave,
dance and smash into people.
Yeah.
Fair play.
it would be fine. But if you were actually trying to see something, it's like I have paid my money to see Mrs. XCX, a gay icon of modern times. And she has got beat in her best fucking makeup. She's got her hair done. She's got these amazing outfits. She's got her dancers. They're serving all these fucking dance moves. And I can see none of it because she is so very far away. And I will never forgive that venue for what they did to me on that day.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to disagree because like normally, like with things like this, I would I have a thing called the Dark Slowbro of Fate, which is a Pokemon card that I flip to see if I feel like it's more of a taste thing, and I feel like other people would like it. I'm like, well, I'll leave it up to fate. But you've literally said that everyone you know fucking hates that venue, and it just sounds like the drizzling shites. So you know what? I'm just gonna throw it in. So listen with a splash. Is it called Victoria Warehouse?
Victoria Warehouse. Get
More
fucked.
like Victoria Shithouse, you know.
Am I right? Am I right, guys? Done. Bye, bitch. Honestly, oh yeah, I'm still annoyed. I know it's in the sea, but okay, yeah. Sorry. Moving on.
So yeah, so you're 6'2".
Yeah, 6'2", yeah, and then that's before I'm in fucking platform heels or whatever.
That's the height that every bloke says they are on Tinder, but you've actually got it.
No, I'm actually 6'2". I'm not like my brother is 6'5". Like
fucking hell.
Yeah, my mum's like 5'11". One of my aunties is 6 foot. My dad's 6'1". Like I'm just from a tall bunch of bitches.
Yeah, good stock.
Apparently, I mean, I've got lots of other problems. If that makes you feel better, I don't know. Like,
well, no, like I feel like I was like my dad is like I think he's 6'4", and my mum is like 4'11".
Oh wow! So you averaged out.
Yeah, so I used to be 5'11". I used to be 5'11", but I feel like I've shrunk down to about a 5'9", 5'10" now, just due to my spine being made out of Weetabix. So like I landed slap bang in the middle, but just under the point where I could call myself a big stocky bloke.
Right.
You know?
Oh, well, some people are into that, you know. There's a pot for every lid, you know.
Yeah, I'm not short by any means, but I'm just kind of there. I'm just there, you know.
I mean, to be honest, like, sometimes it's the bane of my existence because, A, every bed is small, or it feels small to me. Super annoying. And B, when I've got platform boots on for Snatch Game, and I'm suddenly 6'5", virgin on 6'6", sometimes it's hard to just fit on a stage in some of these smaller venues.
Yeah.
The Fulford Arms recently in York, I had about half an inch of clearance from the top of the stage, and I would try to jump to get people, you know, to just be giving the stage presence. And I just realised, I can't, because I just hit my head off the top of the stage.
Famously short ceilings in the Fulford Arms. But at least, you know, you could trigger off people's Amazonian fetish as that.
That's true, yeah. And I mean, it's giving drag queen, isn't it, to be like super ridiculously tall. So
someone might pay you to step on them.
Yeah, I can do that. You know, we'll get something going. We've got a PayPal you can send money to.
Just put your phone on the floor and just film yourself stepping on the phone and sell it for like £5 a pop. Before we move on to the last bit, speaking of like being taller on stage, you just reminded me there used to be this grindcore band called Chemical Tomb. Dan from Chemical Tomb now plays in a band with me called Helpless, but the singer from Chemical Tomb was this guy called Marcin, who was this Polish professional wrestler / grindcore vocalist, 7 foot tall.
Ooh.
He'd be standing off stage and would be the same height as the people that were on stage. And his voice was like so fucking deep because he was so tall, and he had this thick Polish accent that when he spoke, it sounded like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone were talking at the same time.
Love that for him.
Yeah, so he'd be talking and he'd be telling me like, "Oh, great show," or whatever, and I'd just be like. Like, fucking what, mate? Why are you so tall?
That's kind of iconic though. But yeah, that's like what I would call. See, I feel like I'm just at the I'm like where you're tall and it's a bit annoying, but it's like it's fine. Whereas like my brother, like 6'5" and above, I feel like that's inconveniently tall at that point.
Yeah.
That's like you can't walk through doors now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's the point where you're walking down the street and everyone's like, by God, by Jingo, you're tall. It's like, am I? Yeah, fucking cheers.
It's when people gawk at you levels of tall. I mean, I already feel self-conscious at a gig that I'm in people's way. I can't imagine being 7 foot.
Yeah, it'd be class though. In certain points, it'd be good.
Imagine not fitting on any bed though. Sorry, I'm just like,
Yeah. Just sleep diagonal.
Yeah, you'd have to. Just no partners allowed. Get fucked.
Yeah, or just get a hammock.
Yeah.
Right, last bin the fourth.
Oh
Hit
shit!
me with it.
Okay, hang on. Okay, my fourth and final bin. I feel like this is not going to be... Well, I don't know, we'll see. But it's football and its pervasiveness in my life. Against my will, I might add.
Okay, so this is something that's kind of been brought up before.
Okay.
But it is quite a long time ago, and I feel it's worth revisiting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So... when I lived with my mother in East Manchester until I was in my 20s, and I lived down the road from the Manchester City Stadium, so that would constantly, traffic and shit from that would piss me off. And then I lived in the centre of Manchester for a few years, and but it was on the side of the City Stadium, so we would have the same problem of traffic, football fans, visiting fans being loud and obnoxious, etc. And now, kind of my own fault, but now I live in Stretford, literally half a mile away from Old Trafford. So now I have the Manchester United fans pissing me off, causing traffic. And just
the two genders, the Man City fans and the Man United fans.
Literally, and I'm here for none of it. I don't give a shit. I just want to live here, and this just happened to be the best place at the time. I literally have to have a permit to park here on match days, and one time I even got a ticket at my local retail park because I went to the gym and I didn't realise on match days you can't park there very long because they're like, oh, you're going to see the football game. So I got a parking ticket for a football game I didn't even go to. I was like, I don't even like football. I sent them an email going, I don't like football. Here's my proof that I was in the gym. It's on my little app thing. I wasn't even at the football. And they were like, oh, we don't care. You have to pay. So it's literally cost me money now as well. And I'm so sad about it. On top of that, so I already have this that annoys me, is this just like omnipresence of football when you live in Manchester. And my brother is a very big City fan, right? Which, whatever. I don't personally care. But he will constantly make jokes to me about living near Old Trafford as though I give a shit. He'll be like, oh, you live near that shithole, don't you? Well, you know, we call that the theatre of twats or whatever. And I'm like, I literally don't care. And there's this thing about football fans, not all, but most, I'm going to say, where they find it so incredibly hard to understand that some people just don't give a shit about football. Yeah. And they can't accept that you don't. And I will literally say to my brother and family members who talk to me about football, I'll be like, I'm glad you like this. I don't care. I'm just not interested in this at all. And they'll just keep talking about it. And I don't understand why they can't. I love RuPaul's Drag Race, but I don't talk to my dad and brother about it because I know they don't like it. I don't rub it in their faces, quote unquote, because I'm like, I have the self-awareness to know that they are not interested in this thing, so I'm not going to bring it up. And I just can't understand this mentality. It bemuses me. It does.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I couldn't give a flying fig about football, like yourself. But I get that a lot, especially with I'm a young man with a and I look fair. I am a man of an age, and I have a big beard, and I look like a man of the people. So when I'm working in my little charity shop, and my volunteers aren't in, and I'm running the till, every single bloke that comes in to buy a book or a DVD or a T-shirt or something asks me about the football, and it's got to the point now where I'm so tired of arguing why I don't like it that I just smile and nod and pretend I know what the fuck they're talking about, and sometimes that goes beyond, and they start like asking me questions, and I'm just like, oh yeah, well, fucking the football and the sport of it all, and everyone
problem with Arsenal is they always try and walk it in.
Yes, that is the problem, and then the problem is that they kicked the ball and it wasn't good enough, and
exactly,
and they're just like, oh yeah, and then they leave. I think if I just disappoint them with a shit opinion, then I can get them to leave me alone. But there's a lot of that. Every taxi I'm in, they're just like, oh, watching the game later. And I'm like, oh, you gonna go watch the game, have a beer? If someone who doesn't drink or watch football, I'm just like, I'm probably gonna just watch people play Magic the Gathering on YouTube and have a cup of tango. That's what I'm really doing.
Iconic evening, like no problem with that, you know.
But it is that sort of thing of like having to explain why. They'd be like, it's like, well, I don't have to like it, like.
No, and I think it's this presumption, and like, to be honest, this is what I was originally going to come with as kind of like a bit of a joke, but semi-serious. I was going to come with it as like the heterosexual agenda, and it was kind of going to be like tied into that, but it kind of, I thought, that's, you know what, I know some straight people, I have some of my friends are straight people, so I was like, you know what, I'll cut them some slack. They're not all bad, but there is this kind of idea that like, you're a bloke, you exist in England, you must care about football, and then when you're like, no, it's like, it's kind of like this assumption, like it's assumed that, it's assumed that I'm straight, it's assumed that I like football, and it's that kind of assumption that you must care about this thing. No, I don't. And it's like, you can see that they can't process this information. It makes no sense to them. And it's also the fact that I wouldn't care so much if it didn't bleed into everything else. Like, I never get all of this from like cricket fans or like rugby fans. They never seem to be this annoying about it. But it's like, I remember when City won, I think they won the Premier League or whatever, they won some important thing, I don't know. And me and my friend in our flat in the city centre at the time were like, what is all this noise outside? And it's like, there's people cheering and rioting in the street because football game happened. And we literally stood there and we were like, imagine if Jinx Monsoon won Drag Race and we went out into the street with all the gays of Manchester, and we were like, Jinx Monsoon, Jinx, pushing cars over, like, it's like this weird privilege and toxic masculinity that rolls into it that annoys me even more.
Yeah, I think it just awakens this tribalism that our brains have in there, but we've kind of forgot we don't need it. But I think our brain just tries to latch onto it so we can access this part of ancient man. And I think when you say, because they expect, you're a bloke like me, you like what I like, and you're like, I don't like it. They're like, no, but that doesn't make sense. You're just like me. Well, you're not different. You're different. It's like, do you like the same team as me? No. Well, I'm going to punch you in your face and give you an empty beer glass, and because you're different to me. Fuck off.
It's so, like, and don't get me wrong, like, there's plenty of football fans who aren't cunts about it. It's like, I get it, but like, it's the ones that there's enough of you that it gives you a bad name, guys. Like, you need to calm it down. It's not that serious. It's just fucking football. And also, while we're on this topic, it kind of, I can get into like the World Cup and stuff a little bit, because the World Cup makes sense to me. Everyone who plays for England was born in England. I understand this. Everyone who plays for Spain was born in Spain. But everyone who plays for, like, Manchester City is from, like, Portugal, Spain, Italy, over here, There's, like, 3 people from England, let alone Manchester. And it's not that I care about where they're from. It's just, like, Oh, it's just like a money thing, isn't it? It's just like, oh, we'll buy this person from there, we'll buy that person, and it's like,
Yeah.
it's just so, it doesn't make sense to me as a concept now, that I just find it frustrating. It's like, why are we claiming it's Manchester City when we're just cherry picking everyone from every corner of the globe who we can pay with our Etihad money? Like, it's so like convoluted to me.
I have very vivid memories when of being a teenager, and when my parents divorced, my dad moved to Plymouth, where he's from. So I would go, spend the weekend with him in Plymouth, and he would, he loves football. He'd go and see Plymouth Argyle, and I would go with him because that was the only way I could spend time with him, and he was going to be there anyways. Like, I was like, what am I going to do, sit at home on my own? So I would go with him, and I would kind of watch but not really understand what was happening. I don't know the rules of the game apart from ball goes in net, everyone cheer, nice. But I had long hair in a ponytail, and I was wearing my little band t-shirts and stuff like that. And I just remember very vividly, like, all these old men that my dad were friends with, like, kept making fun of me for having long hair and a ponytail, and would like grab it and like call me like gay and all, just like make, you're a woman, which is bad, you look like a gay, which is bad, and making fun of me, and then like the footballers are around on the pitch with long hair in a ponytail, and they're like, yes, football with long hair. And it's like, you fucking
I know it's like, well, they're doing something that's like acceptable, they're winning the gold trophy for the lads or whatever. Like, it's just it's so like, I think it just goes like, those sorts of people, it just goes against like everything I've ever felt in my life, which is just questioning why are we doing this? Does it make sense? Well, let's stop doing it then. And it just kind of goes against all of that. Not, that's an exaggeration, but a lot of it goes against that, put it that way.
Yeah, but on the other side of the coin, because this is how I do it, football also can bring communities together, like small towns and stuff like that. They bring them in, just like there's stuff like St. Pauli, anti-fascist football, bringing in like that sort of thing. So like, there is a community to it that I can understand and respect. I think what we should throw in the bin is when society sort of thrusting on this almost like gendered stereotype to like football, and when when you're not in, when that's not what you are into, but instead of it just being like, okay, you don't like that, fine, I am, it's this sort of pressured, you have to like this because you're British and you're a man. It's like, doesn't work that way.
No, I would say that I will have my little asterisks that I am happy to see women's football becoming more popular in recent years. And the Lionesses are absolutely slaying it. All right, they didn't win, but they very nearly won. So, and that has been nice to see. And it's been nice to see, slowly but surely, more of your typical lads. Even like my brother, who I love, but he is like the chaviest mank person ever. He's like, in the best way, he's super common. Like, I love him. But even... he's like my measure for like, what are the men, the straight men thinking? And he'll be like, you know what, actually... they're all right, them Lionesses, they're doing all right. You know what, they're better than the blokes, And I'm
all
like,
it took for them is to win a World Cup to get some respect.
It's almost like, it's like that thing that like women and gays and stuff and queer people, it's like, have to be twice as good to be as respected as the straight male like equivalent. And I feel like this is what the Lionesses have had to do. But look, at least they're getting some recognition, so like, whatever.
Yeah, I can fuck with that. But I think this having kind of football thrusted upon you constantly definitely get in the bin. So let's with a splash. In it goes, bang. You got 4 for 4. You got the fabled Kit Kat.
Oh, the trifecta. Oh wait, no, that's free. Yeah, well, the Kit Kat. Yeah, I'll go with that.
Yeah, the quadfecta.
Quadfecta, love that. Come on, Latin.
Brilliant. Well, thank you for coming on.
It's
a wonderful thing. I was worried, I slid into your DMs, and I was like, hey, so you wanna, and you were right on it. I was worried you'd be like, oh my god, fuck off. No,
mate, I love chatting shit and I love complaining. Like, what is there to lose? And I've got to come and do my promo, obviously. Come to Snatchmas, etc. I've already given the spiel, but yes, thank you for having me.
Oh, you froze there right at the end. Did the whole call without it going mental. But I think you got all the information out that you needed to. So I'm just gonna, go to Snatchmas.
I'm just gonna say, come to Snatchmas, yeah.
Yeah. And if you should totally book me to come and play next year, so I can come, because I need to have an actual reason to come to Manchester that I can afford.
Send us a cheeky DM. It's always on consideration. We'll. It gets people are asked to play this so far in advance now. It's wild. It's kind of it's she's becoming an event. Believe it or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good. It's good stuff.
MPF, step aside.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
SPF.
SPF is very important. I just ordered some from Beauty Bay, but that's a whole other conversation.
Hi-oh. Right.
Yeah, sorry, I'll shut up. I'll let you end your podcast now.
Well, the podcast is basically just like, thanks for listening, guys. Remember to smoke cigarettes and get it, and all that stuff. And I'll see you guys next time. And love you.
Bye. Go
Toodles.
smoke. It gives you big tits. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey guys, it's me, Big Tasty. I just wanted to say cheers for listening to this week's episode, and I hope you enjoyed listening to it as much as I enjoyed making it. Now, if you feel so inclined, you should come check out my Patreon page. You can sign up for as little as £1 a month, and you get weekly exclusive video tier lists and monthly mail-outs with things such as stickers and fabric patches, zines and art prints. Hey, and if you can't spare the money right now, I totally understand. No pressure. I'm going to keep making episodes regardless, but if you can support financially, it really helps the show. Just keep moving on. And then another way you can help is just to follow us on stuff like Twitter and Instagram at Seaburn Podcast and share it around to people that you think might like this filthy shit. Anyway, love you guys, appreciate you, and I'll see you next week.